Canada may soon force millions of immigrants to leave. Why? A housing crisis, strained public services, and growing frustration among Canadians have pushed the government to act. Number 7, a new chapter in Canadian immigration. Canada used to be known worldwide for open borders and welcoming newcomers. For decades, it was a model of opportunity and fairness. But that story is changing quickly. The turning point came after the pandemic. Ottawa boosted immigration to record highs, over 500,000 newcomers in a single year, to fill jobs and restart the economy. At first it worked. Labor shortages eased, businesses recovered, but soon problems appeared. Housing prices skyrocketed, rental markets collapsed, hospitals and schools became overcrowded. By 2024, polls showed more than half of Canadians thought immigration was out of control. The government had to respond. Starting in 2025, Prime Minister Mark Carney's administration is implementing a 3-year plan. Permanent resident targets drop from 500,000 to 395,000. Temporary workers, international students, and other foreign residents will also face cuts. Officials call it a controlled and sustainable reset. Critics see it differently. Millions who built lives in Canada may now lose a clear path to stay. Economists warn the economy could suffer as immigrants provide essential labor. Carney argues the goal is balance. Opponents say it's political survival. Will this plan fix housing, or will it push away the people driving the economy? Migrant advocates say millions who built their lives in Canada will be left without a pathway to stay. Economists warn the country risks choking off the very labor supply that kept growth alive. Trudeau argues it's about balance. His opponents say it's about survival, political survival. Will these reforms save Canada's housing market, or will they push out the very people who kept the economy running? That question cuts to the heart of the immigration debate. Number 6, cutting permanent resident targets. Permanent residents face major reductions. Before, Canada planned to welcome up to 500,000 new permanent residents each year. This fueled economic growth and addressed labor shortages. In 2025, that target drops to 395,000. In 2026, it falls again to 380,000. By 2027, it reaches 365,000. This is a 21% reduction from the original goal, over 130,000 fewer people. The government says cuts are needed. Housing is expensive and public services are stressed. Many Canadians feel the country cannot handle more newcomers, but critics warn of consequences. Thousands of students, skilled workers, and temporary residents may be left without a clear path to stay. They pay taxes, invest in communities, and now face uncertainty. Economists note that Canada has an aging population and low birth rate. Immigrants are essential for growth, innovation, and entrepreneurship. The government calls it a necessary correction. Opponents call it a betrayal. Permanent residency is no longer a promise, but a revolving door. Does cutting permanent residence help housing or create a new problem of lost talent? With an aging population and one of the lowest birth rates in the developed world, Canada depends on immigrants to drive growth. Business groups fear that fewer permanent residents mean fewer long-term workers, fewer innovators, and fewer entrepreneurs. The government insists it is correcting an imbalance. Opponents call it a betrayal, turning immigration from a promise of permanence into a revolving door. So here's the big question. Does cutting permanent residency fix Canada's housing problem, or does it create a new crisis of lost talent and broken trust? Number 5, reducing temporary residents. Temporary residents face even stricter changes. The government aims to shrink the temporary population from 7% of the total population to just 5% by 2026. This affects hundreds of thousands of people. In 2025, there will be 673,000 temporary residents. By 2026, that drops to 516,000. Even if numbers rebound slightly in 2027, the message is clear. The door is closing. Work permits are being cut too. The International Mobility Program drops from 285,000 permits in 2025 to 128,000 in 2026. The Temporary Foreign Worker Program stays capped at 82,000 per year. International students face new limits, stricter checks, and tighter rules for study permits. Many who hope to become permanent residents may now be forced to leave. The government says this is about sustainability. Immigration Minister Mark Miller says Canada must avoid a disposable workforce. Critics argue the opposite. Millions are treated as temporary placeholders, not future citizens. Can Canada afford to push out the people who run universities, hospitals, and industries? Or is this the only way to prevent a system collapse? Number 4. Express entry changes. Canada's express entry system manages economic immigration. It awards points for skills, education, language, and job offers. Previously, a valid Canadian job offer could boost a candidate's score by 50 to 200 points, often guaranteeing permanent residency. In 2025, those bonus points are gone. The government says this stops fraud and fake job offers. Some employers sold sponsorships, turning the system into a pay-to-play scheme. But the effect goes further. Thousands of temporary residents, students, and skilled workers will now score lower. Many will fall below the cutoff and lose a pathway to permanent residency. Economists warn this could weaken critical sectors like healthcare and technology. Supporters argue it ensures merit-based selection. Opponents say fewer immigrants will be able to stay, even though Canada needs their skills. Number 3. Temporary Foreign Worker Program reforms. The program has supplied essential labor for agriculture, food service, and construction. Critics say it also created exploitation, with underpaid and overworked workers afraid to complain. In 2025, rules change. Low-wage permits are capped at 1 year, down from the previous 2. Stricter rules apply in regions with higher unemployment. Employers will find it harder to bring in foreign workers in some areas. Prime Minister Carney frames this as a crackdown on corporations exploiting cheap labor. Supporters say it forces companies to raise wages, but for temporary workers, it reduces opportunities. Fewer chances exist to transition to permanent residency. Many will run out of time and be forced to leave. Industries that rely on immigrant labor may face shortages. Are these reforms protecting Canadian workers or creating a disposable migrant workforce? Number 2, international student restrictions. International students were a key source of revenue and future talent. Now, study permits are capped at 437,000 in 2025, down from over 500,000 in recent years. The Student Direct Stream, a fast-track program, has ended. Post-graduation work permits now require strict attendance and enrollment compliance. Minor mistakes can disqualify students. Border officers can revoke visas on the spot. Even small errors could force students to leave. Supporters say the reforms protect system integrity and ease housing pressure. Critics warn Canada may lose young, skilled migrants. Are these rules about sustainability or hurting Canada's global reputation? But critics argue Canada is sabotaging one of its greatest advantages, attracting young, skilled migrants who bring both money and long-term potential. Are these rules safeguarding sustainability? Or are they risking Canada's reputation as a welcoming destination for global talent? And this is just the setup. Because when we get to the political drivers behind these reforms, you'll see why the fight over immigration could reshape Canada's future for decades to come. Number 1. Political and economic drivers behind the reforms. Politics drive every rule. Prime Minister Carney admits the government didn't strike the right balance. Opposition leader Pierre Pouve says immigration should match new housing construction. No homes, no newcomers, he says. Voters see this as common sense. Critics warn it's risky. Cutting immigration may cool housing prices in the short term, but Canada relies on immigrants for growth, innovation, and labor. Without them, GDP slows, labor shortages worsen, and innovation stalls. Voters want relief from crowded cities. Businesses want more workers. Carney aims for sustainability. Critics warn of instability. Will these reforms save the housing market or weaken the economy? Millions of students, workers, and families face uncertainty. Will Canada protect its citizens or push out the people who built the country? What do you think? Is Canada making the right choice, or will these rules backfire? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into policies shaping our world. Canada's immigration debate has just begun, and your voice matters.